What is up, YouTube? We are here. We just did 100 burial chambers maps. Actually, 101 because I couldn't count and I accidentally did 2 extra. Actually, what happened was I actually did like 25 too few, and then I rolled like 30 more, and then I couldn't count, and so I got worried, and then I like threw them all into a stack size of 25, and then I did those, but apparently it was 26 because I picked up a rare one that was ID'd. Maybe I ID'd it. Anyway, we did 101 burial chambers maps, and we're probably going to keep doing it because, yeah, it's really profitable. Who would have thunk? Burial chambers is meta for a reason. So anyway, here's all the drops. Dropped them into 6 regular tabs. So I had a Ventures drop, had a Hysteria in here, pop somewhere that I got a challenge from that. Yeah, Essence of Hysteria, that was cool. Got a bunch of other crap uniques and then a bunch of crap cards and a bunch of maps. So this is what my Atlas looked like. We redid it so that way we went down from 148, went up to 137, and then you can see Burial is right over here. And the only thing that can drop for us, we shaped Relic Chambers so that way that can't drop. So the only thing that really drops for us besides for other burials are arcade maps. And you'll see once I tally all this that I just have tons and tons of burial chamber maps to go do. So I'm just going to keep running it because it's really, really profitable. But anyway, I'm going to go tally all this stuff up, and of course there's the IMGUR link as well, and then of course down below in the video description there's also the Excel sheet with all of the data. So I'm going to go populate this right now, but what you're going to do is listen to elevator music for like 3 seconds, and then I'm magically going to come back with all this sorted. Welcome back. All right, that's the magic of elevator music, is like 72 hours of sorting for me is like 3 seconds for you via elevator music. Anyway, so here's all the uniques that we found. Here are the beautiful cards, essences, and currency. You'll notice that we got a Essence of Hysteria here, which is pretty great. We also found 2 Pure Exalted, which are great. And then we've got a bunch of maps and a bunch of Jeweler's Orbs. So let's go ahead and take a look here at what we've got with our setup. So our setup again was 101 maps. We leveled once during this whole process. We did 101 maps. We used NeverSync 5, his uber strict filter. That's what we were using. We do have an IMGUR of the loot up, so that's down in the description. You can click show more on your YouTube description for more of that if you want to go and take a look at the IMGUR album. Total value was 758 chaos, so our returns per map were a little over 7, about 7.5 chaos return per map. That does not factor in the alks, so we had to spend 101 alks. But when you remove 101 alks from that, and you see the value of everything, it's still really, really strong. So even if you value alks at 0.5 chaos per, that's only 50 chaos taken away, so it's still 700 chaos that would be valued in. But I didn't calculate it that way. I calculated it just as the pure returns, not with what was put in. But again, we just alked it, no chisels. So the total number of clicks that we did, 1,245 clicks. So we had 81 uniques, 184 div card pickups, currency 764 clicks, essences and splinters 103, and then maps 113. So our value per click, the way how that breaks down is just your total estimated value divided by your total number of clicks. So we were clicking for just above half a chaos per click is what we were doing. And then clicks per map, roughly based on the number of, which is simply this number, total clicks divided by the number of maps. It's about 12 clicks for picking things up per map. So we're going to take a look at the values here individually. So uniques, we got 50 chaos worth of uniques, 125 chaos worth of div cards, 485 chaos worth of currency. So by far the largest single chunk was currency, 48 for essences and splinters, and then 48 for maps. So really quickly looking at all this, the best unique that we found was Avengers Gamble. Other than that, the rest of this stuff is just based on whether or not they're perfect rolls or not, but most of it's just junk. But it is unique stuff, so you know there's a chance that one of them or 2 of them out of those 81 will have a perfect roll, which would be nice. Our div cards, the most common ones that we found were Her Mask, the Betrayal, the Gambler. We found another one, Maligros, I forget what it is. Not the Betrayal. There's another one here. Maybe I'm thinking about something different. Yeah, I must be thinking about something different. Oh, Call of the First Ones. Here's another one that dropped 5 times. Reign of Chaos, that dropped 7 times. Loyalty dropped a few times. It was interesting because I actually got 2 divination boxes through this run. So 2 whole divination divination boxes. Woo! But it was interesting to see just through 100 burial maps. I think I got 1 through 155 arcades, whereas now I've gotten 2 through burials. So I don't know if that means that the spawn rate is actually up in burials for divination boxes, or I just got lucky again. You know, you never know. For the currency, so here's the way the currency breaks down. Total value 45. The best and the biggest of it being the 2 exalts dropped, which was great. So, you know, on average, it's 50.5 maps per exalted drop on average, but I think they actually dropped relatively close together, like within 35 maps of one another, so that was great. It meant that there were a lot of maps that I didn't have exalteds dropping, which is a bummer. And yeah, but anyway, so for the jewelers, I didn't divide up to show on the stream because it took up too much time last map. But anyway, picked up 75 6 sockets. Total stack size for all of these are this, so 71. Value for jewelers. Chaos orbs, we found 50 pure chaos orbs, orb of fusing, 80, 113 chromatics. I really need to stop picking those up because that's a lot of clicks for not a lot of value. When you look at it, 15 chaos, that's just, I need to stop picking those up. Cartographer's sextants, 6 of them. So not a lot, so definitely not sustainable. Like if I was to cartographer sextant, which granted, you know, if you change things up and you sextant everything, then you're also going to have better returns, so maybe that makes it more valuable. But just looking off of the pure drops, it's not going to be sustainable. And even if I spent a bunch of currency, the time that would be spent on that, it's a lot. Anyway, leave me a comment below if you want me to do one of these runs with a bunch of sextants and chisels. Maybe I'll do one, but at the moment it doesn't look like it's that worth it. Essences, at least in terms of time. Essences and splinters, so these were the breaches that we found. Zoth was by far the most common, then Ol Natul and Esh, and then Tull. We did not find a Chayula breach whatsoever. These were the essences that we got. By far the best essence that we got was the Essence of Hysteria. Woo! Worth 8 whole chaos, so that was great. In terms of maps, these were the maps that we found. It was interesting because the number of maps, the diversity of the number of maps that I found has actually gone down, which of course that's good because we want more and more burial chambers. So if you look at this, this is the big number to look at here. Because of the way how we've shaped our atlas, and this is the way how we've shaped our atlas, just so that way you can see, we're down to 137 out of 158 completions. And the reason for that is because we just want burial chambers maps dropping. That is our goal. Every time we kill something and it drops a map, we want it to be a burial chambers map, so that way we can constantly sustain it. So we have uncleared everything that's a tier 3 or a tier 4, even our beloved arcade map, but we've uncompleted all of those, so that way they can't drop. Marshes, there's nothing you can do about it. It's adjacent to burial chambers. If you uncomplete it, it can still drop as a chance because it's adjacent. So there's really not much that you can do to that marshes map. And then relic chambers, you can shape it, which is great. So anyway, so there you go. So that's what the atlas looks like, and that's why we've got so many burial chambers that's dropping. So we had 91 burial chambers drop out of 101 maps run. So that is sustainable. That's definitely sustainable. Over the long term, depending on whether or not I got lucky or unlucky, we're going to call that pretty sustainable for the maps that are dropping. And also, I'm not killing the boss in these burial chambers, which the boss has a lot better chance to drop maps. So as I level up and if I dump a little bit more currency into my character, and if I stop running stuff like, you know, Greed's Embrace, if I run a Queen of the Forest, then I'll probably be able to do the boss. I've also got a Chinsel on my second link. Whoop, where is it? Here it is, Chinsel. I haven't 6-linked it yet, though. Didn't have enough fusings to do it. So anyway, maybe now that I have a bunch more fusings and a bunch more chaos, I'll dump some into that, and then we'll use that. But that's typically your boss killing bow for when you're running an MF build. So anyway, so I didn't do that. So that's 101 times that we had opportunities to drop more maps, and we didn't. So I think if we're able to kill bosses, we will definitely have a better value. So there's the value per click. 0.43, so a little less than half the chaos. So if you look here and you see what was the most valuable, and we'll look at the pie chart for clicks. So the pie chart for clicks just shows, hey, currency is by far the most thing that we're picking up. And then the second most thing is actually div cards. Third most thing is maps. Fourth most thing is essence. And then uniques, believe it or not. They take up a bunch of space, and you can see that here in my stash. They take up a bunch of space. This is a quad tab, and they take up a bunch of space, but they're actually, the returns on them in terms of their profit and the returns on them in terms of space is not that great. So I may just stop picking up uniques. I don't know. I may block it out and just keep running, because like that's 81 times that I'm slowing down to click, and it's really not turning back a profit. Like when you look at the total value on uniques, we're talking 50 chaos. So anyway, same thing is true actually for essences and splinters. There's not that much going on there, and when you're fighting in those breaches a lot of the time, at least for me as an MF build, man, with my resistances, I would die a lot to, especially to Esh breaches, because my lightning resistance is terrible. I think it's like 27 or something, which with divination distill it, plus with my topaz flask, yes, I'm at max, but I'm not going to have those flasks up all the time because I'm not a pathfinder. I'm going to run out of flasks. Even though I'm killing stuff, I'm still going to run out of flasks and stuff because I'm not the most mechanically aware player, especially while you're just AFK farming burial chambers. So long story short is I think I'm going to actually stop doing breaches, which sounds really weird because like breaches are amazing and everybody loves breaches, but I think I may actually stop doing breaches and I may stop picking up uniques, which that would be 100 less chaos. But how many more maps could I run picking up more divination cards, more currency, and more maps if I didn't click on all of these clicks? And again, the sum total clicks between those two, between uniques and essences and splinters, 81, 103, so nearly 200 clicks. So this drops down to right around 1,000. If we're able to do that. So anyway, those are ways to improve and potential ways to improve this run. Okay, so really quickly, tools used: currency cop for the calculations, mapwatch.github for map timers, my brain for documentation, a bunch of premium tabs for dumping and displaying, and then one quad tab for dumping and displaying. How many deaths? Probably around 80. So the grand total number of portals that I used was 188. So you had to use 101 in order to enter. So that leaves us with like 87 different portals. So if we say, hey, I came out to trade roughly half a dozen times, that leaves us around 80 deaths. All right, did I run masters? Yes, I ran the 9 Zanas that I found. I found 9 in 101 maps. It should say 101. I also did some Elrions as well. Unfortunately, MapWatch doesn't track Elrion, though, because he's not another instance that you have to enter into, so I couldn't tell you how many Elrions I did. Did you run Alva Incursions? Yes, I ran about 10 of them. The way that I was able to track that is I had a new temple up, so I ran 10 of them to finish off a temple, and then I didn't actually run the temple or any more incursions. Found 1 Abyssal Depths with 0 liches, and then the average time, so this was fascinating. Average time in map was 4 minutes, 9 seconds. Time in town, 1 minute, 40 seconds. And portals used was 188. So when you divide it, it comes out to about 188. So that's pretty interesting, running a burial chamber in 4 minutes. So if I can get that down to sub 4 minutes, so shave off 10 seconds, like when you think about that, that means that, what is that, 10 seconds goes into a minute 6 times. So for every, what, for every 6 maps, I'm saving a minute. So for every 6 times 4, for every 24 maps, I'm running an additional map, basically. I don't know. So that means that if I can shave off 10 seconds off that, that's an additional, what, roughly 5 maps, 4 maps that I could have gotten in there. I don't know. I don't know if those 4 maps are going to be the difference in running a doctor or not, but I do know that in my next run I'm going to run Queen of the Forest and Rampage on my belt rather than the Parandus. I'm going to run Bisco's Leash, and we'll see if that really speeds things up or not. All right, did you have fun? Yes. Finding those 2 pure exalts was the most fun. Do you still hate Burial Chamber's layout? It's growing on me. I'll probably keep running it, but yeah, I definitely hated it at the start of the run. It's growing on me. Why such a small sample size? Don't worry, my sample size gets bigger and bigger every day. You know what they say, it's not about the size of your sample, it's how you use it. So did you find a doctor? Not yet, so I'm going to go back to burial chambers and keep farming. And here's the value breakdown. So the value breakdown, quite simply, is currency is the most of it. 63% of my entire value comes out of currency. So uniques, you can see here, 6.7 maps are not very much, but again, the reason why we're picking up maps is to sustain the maps that we're running, and 6.4 for essences. So really the only things that are that are making up the majority of this of funding this whole project are going to be currency and div cards. So really I think what I'm going to go do is go in and edit my filter to just pretty much show me div cards and currency, and just say screw uniques and pick up maps. So there you go. Leave us a comment down below. What do you think we should run next? Should we run something next? I think the next thing probably that I'm going to run is probably going to be probably going to swap this out for a Bisco's Leash, and then I'll probably 6-link my Chinsole, and then I'll probably run Queen of the Forest rather than Greed's Embrace, just because that's harming my, man, that is really hurting my defenses there. Oh yuck, 75, 37, 57. Oh gosh, That's just gross. Anyway, leave us a comment down below. As always, like and subscribe for more daily PoE content, and we'll see if I go insane running the next 100 maps.